Assalamualaikum class and welcome to today's lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss the concepts, definitions, and classification of direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overheads. Understanding these concepts is crucial for calculation of cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold for a manufacturing company. So let's begin. You can see the financial statement, specifically balance sheet of two different types of corporation. One is merchandiser and other is manufacturer. So merchandiser is one who purchase prepared or ready to sell goods from manufacturer and sell it to the customers. They do not produce anything themselves. Whereas in case of manufacturer, these are the companies who get raw material or who purchase raw material and they produce from raw material to finished goods. So we are focusing on manufacturing companies. So in manufacturing companies, we have different types of inventories, which is raw material inventory, work in process, and cost of goods sold inventory. So these are the three main parts of the product: direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So we will discuss one by one what do we mean by direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. First of all, direct material. So direct material is the cost of raw material that is used to make and can be conveniently traced to the finished goods. For example, steel used to manufacture the automobile, or the wood is used in making furniture. So, this means that direct material is directly traceable to the production of a specific product, and it is the integral part of final product. You can say that direct material directly attributable to the cost of being produced. That's why it is called direct material. So direct material is the material that can be conveniently traced, or that is the main part of the product. The next is direct labor. It is the cost of salaries, wages, and fringe benefits for personnel who works directly in manufacturing of the products. Means from you can say that converting raw material to finished goods, at any stage, the labor who is directly involved in converting raw material into finished goods is called direct labor. So it can be conveniently, or you can say directly traced to the product. uh, Example, wages paid to an automobile assembly workers, or in case of a furniture manufacturing company, those laborers, those skilled labor who are directly involved, who are directly converting wood into furniture, are direct labor, are called direct labor. Then the third part of the product is manufacturing overheads. So all other manufacturing cost other than direct material and direct labor is called manufacturing overhead. So in manufacturing overhead, first of all, we have indirect material. Indirect material, material used to support the production process. So that's why this is called supplementary or supporting materials. So here we have lubricants, cleaning supplies, or you can say if we are taking the example of furniture, so you can say glue, nails, screws. So these are used in the production but cannot be directly traced or linked to the production. That's why this is called indirect material, and indirect material is a part of manufacturing overhead. Next is indirect labor. So, indirect labor is the cost of personnel who do not work directly on the production. Uh, they are not directly involved in converting raw material into finished goods, but they are supporting staff, they are supporting workers who support production process but are not directly involved in actual creation of goods or services. For example, here we have maintenance workers, janitors, or security guards, even inspection staffs. So they are not directly involved, but of course they are supporting manufacturing process. So they are part of the product, but they are called indirect labor. The other cost may include depreciation of property, plant and equipment, property taxes, insurance, utilities, overtime premium, unavoidable idle time, and so on. So, all indirect cost involved in production and that cannot be directly traced with a specific product is a part of manufacturing overhead. So the other name of manufacturing overhead is factory overhead. So factory overhead, FOH or manufacturing overhead. So we have three main part of the product, which is direct material, direct labor and manufacturing overhead. Indirect material is a part of MOH. Indirect labor also is a part of MOH, and all other factory expenses are part of manufacturing overhead. So, another classification is prime cost and conversion cost. So, direct material and direct labor is called prime cost. When we add direct material and direct labor, then this is called prime cost, the primary cost, the main cost. And then we have direct labor with MOH, then this is called conversion cost. When we add direct labor and MOH or factory overhead, then this is called conversion cost. So here it is the manufacturing process. We add material, labor, and overhead. Material means direct material, direct labor, and overhead. And then we start production, and then we finish goods. So here it is the complete manufacturing cost flows, and at last we sell the goods. And whenever we sell the good, the finished goods or the inventory become the part of cost of goods sold. So I'm sharing with you the Excel sheet, and we will cover two problems from Managerial Accounting by Ronald Hilton book, and we are covering edition 9. So this is exercise 2.28, and consider the following costs that were incurred during the current year. So we have different costs. In our previous lecture, we have already classified them as product cost or period cost and fixed or variable cost. But this lecture is particularly about the classification of direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overheads. In this problem, we are going to classify these costs into direct material, direct labor, or manufacturing overhead. So you can see the first one here. mm, the first is the tire cost incurred by Ford Motors. So the tire cost incurred by Ford Motors. Tire cost is the product cost we have already discussed. It is the part of the product. It is the main part of the product, and this is called direct material. So it is direct material. Then the second one is sales commission paid by the sales force. So it is a period cost, means it is not directly involved in the, it is not involved in the production of the product, but it is involved in selling of the product. So that's why this is called period cost, and we can classify it into selling expense. The next one is wood glue consume. So, wood glue consume in the manufacturing of the furniture. As we have discussed that uh, wood is glue is basically is not a main part of the product. So it is here number third is it is a product cost because it is a part of the product, but we can classify it as uh, indirect. You can say it is indirect material because wood is not direct glue is not directly or conveniently traceable, so it is indirect material. So indirect material is a part of manufacturing overhead, so we can classify it as manufacturing overhead. The next example is hourly wages of refinery security guards. So we are talking about the, you can say, production cost because security guards are refinery security guards, means they are the main factory area guards. So these are the hourly wages, so we can classify in both way. If it is hourly wages, so it can be classified as you can say um, fixed and variable, but security guards are basically indirect labor. So, because they are not directly converting raw material into finished goods at any stage. So, that's why these are supporting staff and that should be included in manufacturing overhead. So, although they are the part of the factory, but they are not directly involved. So, that's why they are called indirect labor and part of manufacturing overhead. So the next is salary of a financial vice president of the company. So it is a period cost, and period cost. So that's why it is, you can say, the part of administrative expense or admin expense, because period cost may be classified into selling, admin, marketing expenses, whereas product cost can be classified into direct material, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. So the next example is about the advertising cost of Coca-Cola company. So advertising cost is, again, it is the cost that is incurred after manufacturing of the product. So this is selling cost or advertising cost. It is not the part of the product. The next is the example 7, which we have straight line depreciation of factory machinery. So remember, it is factory machinery. This means that it is product cost, and as it mentioned that straight line depreciation means we have a fixed same depreciation every month or every year, and depreciation is the part of indirect cost. So this is a part of manufacturing expense or MOH, manufacturing overheads. Then next we have in 8, the next example is about wages of assembly line personnel. Wages of assembly line personnel. So assembly line personnel are the laborers who are directly involved in the production. They are those labor who assemble the parts of the product. So they are direct labor. The next is delivery cost on the customer shipment of the company's ice cream. So delivery cost is not directly involved in producing a product. So that's why it is not a part of the product. Here you can see we have already mentioned that this is a period cost. So period cost, it may be selling or distribution cost. The next one is the newsprint used or consumed in printing of a newspaper. So this is the main part, because without newsprint you cannot print a newspaper. So product cost, and this is the product cost, and obviously this is direct material. Next is, second last is about plant insurance cost. So insurance cost of the plant means plant is the manufacturing area and the factory area. So this is a product cost. Here you see it is a product cost, but it is not a direct material or direct labor. So it is a part of manufacturing overheads. The next and the last one is glass cost incurred in light bulb manufacturing. So light bulb manufacturing of a General Electric. So this means that this is the main part of the product, and it is glass is material. So it is the main part of the product, and we have already mentioned that it is product cost. So this is direct material. So similarly, we have another practice problem, which is problem 2-45 from Managerial Accounting by Ronald Hilton. And here we have already covered the difference between a product cost and period cost, and the fixed cost and variable cost in our previous lecture. Now we are going to classify it into direct material, direct labor, or MOH. So if it is a product cost, so we can classify it into direct material, direct labor, or MOH. And if it is a period cost, then period cost may be classified into selling, admin, marketing, or R&D, that is research and development cost. So here it is a company which manufactures T-shirts, and then the company has a manufacturing, or you can say the company manufactures as well as it has a retail outlet. So now we are going to classify it, and let's see. The first example is the cost of fabric used in the T-shirt. So cost of the fabric is obviously the main part of the product. So fabric is basically direct material. So it is direct material. The other is, the next example is about here the wages of uh, shirt maker. So shirt maker is basically obviously the shirt maker are those labor who are converting raw material into finished goods. So they are called direct labor. We have already discussed direct labor. So they are direct labor. In the next example, we have example number third. This is the cost of new sign in front of retail tea shop. So it is not the main part of the product, but these are marketing. You can say these are marketing or selling expenses. So you can see these are the period cost. That's why we classify it into either selling, admin, or R&D. So this is your selling expenses. Then the next part, the next example is the wages of employees who repair the farm sewing machines. So they are involved in the factory. These are factory workers, but they are not directly converting uh, cloth into t-shirts. So they are those who repair basically. So they are supporting staff. So if they are supporting staff, then this means that they are indirect labor. So indirect labor is a part of manufacturing overhead. They are indirect labor and manufacturing overhead. Then, in the next example, we have cost of electricity used in the swing department. Again, yes, it is the cost that is involved in manufacturing of a product. That's why it is called product cost, but it is not direct material or direct labor. So, electricity, utilities, heat, light, gas, all these are part of manufacturing overhead. The next example is about the wages of t-shirts designers and um, the you can say painters. So painters are those who you know paint on the t-shirts different logos, and so these are the part of the product. These are the part of the main product, and they are directly involved in the production. So that's why they are called direct labor. They are the part of the direct labor. The next is the wages of sales personnel. So obviously, sales personnel are the part of selling, marketing activities. So here you can see these are selling expenses. Then next example is about the depreciation of sewing machine. So depreciation sewing machine is a part of production, and depreciation is a part of manufacturing overhead, because depreciation is not a direct material, it is not a direct labor. So obviously it is indirect cost, but this cost is belongs to factory. That's why it is a part of manufacturing overhead. So the next example is rent on building, and the part of the building is to make used to make and print t-shirt, whereas part of the building is the retail shop. So as it is mentioned earlier that it is product cost as well as period cost. The cost of the product means that we will divide total rent into, you can say, um, manufacturing cost as well as non-manufacturing cost, so or selling or marketing admin cost. So this is the product cost. In case of product cost, this rent of the building goes on manufacturing overhead, where it is a part of admin expenses in case of uh, retail shop. So the rent of the depreciation is divided among these two expenses according to the area consumed, or according to the in the ratio of the area consumed. The next is cost of daily advertisement. So it is a period cost, and at as it is a period cost, it come into advertising. So it is selling cost. The next is wages of designers who experiment with new fabrics, who experiment. Experiments means they are trying, they are researching. So they are part of research and development. Here you can see, because they are not directly involved in converting raw material into finished good, but they are experimenting, or they are the part of research and development. So it should come into research and development cost and the period cost. Next is cost of hiring a pilot to fly along the beach, pulling a banner advertising the shop. Again, it is the part of selling expenses. Then salaries of the owner's secretary. So that secretary is not converting directly raw material into finished goods. So this is the part of period cost and it is admin cost. Then we have cost of repairing the gas furnace. So cost of repairing the gas furnace, you can say, if the furnace is used to heating the whole building, then as we have divided rent of the building into two parts, the product and as well as the period, so we can divide the cost of the gas furnace into product as well as the period cost. But you know that the heating of the building is mostly, or heating or gas furnace is mostly required by the factory area, so it should come under MOH or manufacturing overhead. But if the furnace, gas furnace is also used by here retail sales shop portion, then it should come also, or it should be divided in the expense should be divided in product cost as well as in period cost. And if it is in period cost, that comes in into you can say admin cost. The next and the last one is cost of insurance for the production implies. Production implies, as the name shows, that they are directly, those implies that are directly involved or that are the part of the product, but they are not the cost, you can say, they are cost of insurance basically is about the covering them. So you can classify it into manufacturing overhead. So this is the part of manufacturing overhead, this is the fixed cost, and that's why um, it's come under manufacturing overhead. So that's it from today's lecture. In coming lecture, we will discuss the cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold. We will calculate cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold. So if you have any questions, ask it in the comments. And that's it from this lecture. Take care, class.